Today's session is about Labor Day holiday posts using kvCORE. And if I haven't introduced myself already, my name is Mariel Ortiz. I'm a product trainer here with Inside Real Estate. I teach a lot of our kvCORE orientations, how it works webinars, a bit about building your pipeline, have some past experience with our lead configuration team, the team that does bulk imports of contacts in your databases. So if you've got questions about those, feel free to chime in at any time. While we will be talking about Labor Day holiday posts using your platform today, if you have any questions about your kvCORE platform, today's session is also open Q&A, so feel free to pop your questions into the chat or Q&A at any time. And even if they're not related to today's topic, we'll try to kind of weave those into today's conversation. All right. Well, every time I teach a kvCORE Success Meetup, I like to create a handy little guide for you all. The guide will have lots of links to various support articles on the tools that we'll talk about here today. I am also going to be sharing a sharing token and a little bit with some templates for sending out email messages for the Labor Day holiday. And you're, of course, welcome to personalize those. We'll talk about some of the ways that you can edit those messages for your holiday emails. And then, of course, I always challenge you to make sure you understand the tools that we talk about here today. Maybe try them out for yourself in your own platforms to get a feel for how they function. And I usually always try to include a link to today's recording on this guide. So if you have to leave a little early or if you want to watch it again later, you can just grab the guide to access that resource. So let me share this out in the chats. And here is my guide going down. You should be able just to click that link in the chat to open this up on your end. All right. So for today's topic, we're going to talk a bit about Labor Day holiday posts. If you're a frequent attendee of these Success Meetup webinars, I love to, teach a session with just about every holiday coming up. Occasionally we do skip over some holidays. Maybe we'll talk about some next year, but definitely expect as the year progresses to have some holiday post webinars at these Success Meetups about Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. So be on the lookout for those. Always love to do those for you guys. And just let's start at the basics. Now, there's lots of ways that you can send various messages to your contacts using the kvCORE platform. Feel free to send them a text, send them an email, send them a core video if you'd like. But let's start with the basics. So who do we want to include in our messaging? An easy way to determine who we want to filter for, who we want to, pinpoint when we're sending out these messages is by creating hashtags in our database to identify those contacts. Now, I just want to mention for all these Success Meetups, we usually have a combination of, new kvCORE users and more experienced kvCORE users. So if you're a new kvCORE user, welcome. I just want to quickly explain what the hashtags will be in your database and what I mean by organizing and identifying those contacts for holiday messaging. Now, for holiday messaging, these could be generic enough messages that maybe you send them to all the contacts in your database. But in some scenarios, you might want to be very specific about who it is that you're reaching out to. Unless that message is, targeting a new lead, encouraging them to reach out to you for help about buying a home or, directing them to resources on your website, it might be a very different message as opposed to a holiday message that's going to just thank them for being your customer, being your client. So having some hashtags or some personal labels in your database to organize those individuals can be really helpful. If I headed over to kvCORE, to my platform, to the Smart CRM, I want to point out that it's very easy to pick and choose the contacts that I want to apply these tags or these labels to, you can add it to them individually by clicking on a contact and typing it in the hashtag tab on the left-hand side, or I can always add this to contacts in mass. Perhaps, everyone on this first page that I'm looking at here, maybe I want them all to receive my holiday messaging. So sometimes it can be helpful, to pinpoint those people by adding a hashtag to them in mass. And that hashtag could be something like, holiday list. These are all people from my holiday list, for example. Or maybe you want to pinpoint, people who would be appropriate to receive your reoccurring newsletter. Additionally, probably won't apply to today's holiday, but it might be something, some food for thought for future organization of your database. It might be helpful as well as you meet different contacts and clients to apply hashtags to them to narrow them down into smaller groups, such as mother. So, who to pinpoint for your Mother's Day messaging. Give them hashtag father for Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, and, further, group those individuals. Additionally, it might be helpful even within your holiday list or your newsletter list to pinpoint, if you're sending a specific message to leads as opposed to individuals who are, say, your past clients, might be easier to pinpoint those as well. And if you didn't know, well, you can see your hashtags here in your CRM. You can see it, the italicized writing underneath their name. And of course, you can see it when you click into that contact. If you didn't know, if you're a newer user of kvCORE, in our marketing tab here, you'll also find that we have what's called the hashtag management tool, which is going to house every hashtag you've ever created in your database. So if you can't quite remember what hashtags you've used previously, or if you might have duplicate contact or duplicate hashtags, I would say, I think it's very easy. I've probably got some examples in here somewhere of hashtags that might mean the very same thing, but they're just slightly different spellings. Maybe I put an S on the end of one of these hashtags. I can come here and I can actually merge those hashtags together. So if you ever need a little refresher, a good place to go back and clean up your database and make sure you stay organized, you can always do that from your hashtag management tool. You can also apply new hashtags to your contacts from here as well. All right. Now, while you can, send in the moment a, mass email or mass text message to contacts based on their grouping from your saved filters, or say on a hashtag that you've applied to them, like holiday card list or holiday list. There we go. I could pinpoint them. If I don't want to send this message out today, if I want to plan this in advance, because it's not Labor Day just yet, that is next week. I always try to have these meetings a little bit before the upcoming holiday so you can have time to tinker with the messages and plan them in advance. But if you're looking to do some, planning in advance, some scheduled messaging, a tool that I often like to refer to our new users of kvCORE is these scheduled mass emails. I think these are really great for if you're planning a newsletter in advance or for holiday messaging. And I'll just go ahead and click on Get Started real quick. And you'd head on over to Schedule Email on the right-hand side. And I can choose exactly what date I want it to send out on. So I can go ahead and I can select, Labor Day. I can do days before, days after, whatever works for me specifically. And something to think about with your holiday messaging, while it might automatically occur to you, oh, I'm going to send it to them on Labor Day, sometimes it's nice to send it to them a day or two before or a couple days after, just to set yourself apart from the rest of the pack. If you think about how many messages you receive in your inbox day after day, especially around the holidays, by choosing a slightly different date than the holiday date specifically, again, you can help kind of, weed yourself out of the pack, make yourself a little bit more distinct. So feel free to think about that as you're planning what date you want to schedule your messaging to go out on. And then additionally, while the templates that I'm going to show you here today don't include, some of you out there might be taking Labor Day off. It's possible you might be enjoying the holiday yourself, in which case not only is sending out a Labor Day email helpful to re-engage with your contacts, but you could use that as an opportunity to let them know that you might be unavailable. But also additionally, you might be using this to promote a sale or an event or some other sort of promotion that you might be providing. So always might be helpful to consider your planning with that. You might even want to send it as far as, a week in advance, just to really get their attention. So with these scheduled mass emails, you choose the date, you choose the time that you want to send that messaging out. Please be aware that if you're sending these to lots and lots of contacts, they might not, if I choose 10 a.m. here, they might not all read this or reach them at 10 a.m. kvCORE can sometimes send these emails out in batches. And that just helps prevent that email from being detected as spam if you're sending it out to lots of contacts at once. Now, I did this a little out of order. I chose the date and time here on the right. Typically, I start with the left-hand side, which is who am I sending this email to? And you can grab contacts from saved filters from your CRM. Here's where you can also pull up all the contacts with a particular hashtag. So again, I've got holiday, I think we've got holiday card list in here as my example. That's a hashtag I've created previously in kvCORE just by applying it to some contacts. So I can pull all of them here. Or again, if you're creating a very generic message that is appropriate for lots of groups of contacts, you could choose by status. So I could send this to all the people in my sphere, my prospects, my new leads, active leads, so on and so forth, just by selecting the statuses here. So lots of different options here. With these saved filters, just to give you a quick example, if you're not familiar with saved filters, let me duplicate this and head back to the CRM real quick. And after a brief but dramatic pause, there we go. Heading back to the CRM, I mentioned you have lots of filters you can search by, not just by your, say, hashtag filter. That hashtag filter might be a great preliminary step. So maybe you're pulling up everybody from your holiday card list, but that holiday card list maybe includes both past clients and new leads, or past clients and current clients. And maybe you have specific templates or specific messages you want to send to the different groups. If that's the case, not only can you filter for that hashtag, but you could also filter for their status of how they're currently labeled. Maybe they're currently a client. Maybe you have a specific messaging that's just for your buyers as opposed to the sellers that you work with. Or again, maybe you want to filter specifically for those with a phone. And besides just applying those filters, you can save that filter combination, give it whatever name you like, whatever's going to be memorable to you. So right now we grabbed holiday list with email. And that was, I clicked on, I believe it was my clients. If I scrolled back up, I believe it was clients that we selected. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you could go and you could save that filter. If it's one that you're going to refer back to a lot, you can even pin it as a quick link in your CRM. But for today's purposes, for that scheduled mass email tool, you could choose that saved filter that you build here. So let's just go ahead and save that new filter real quick. Double check my work here. Yes, that was our clients, buyers. And now that I've saved that as a filter, I can find that here in my saved filters. Or might need to refresh now that we've just added that in here. So let's refresh it, and it should show up in my saved filter since I just went and saved that. There we go, holiday list with email clients. So if I wanted to be very, very specific about who I'm sending this messaging to, I could do that. All right. Now, when we're actually crafting this email, you can craft a typical message. Just type in whatever you'd like it to say. Type in here. Or if you want to make it more visually enticing, feel free to use our advanced email editor to add in things like photos, add in buttons, add in videos if you have them. So to give you some examples of kind of the different features that you can add into your email messaging using the advanced email editor, I have created some templates. Let me share what I've created for you guys. So real quick, I'm just going to give this a name. This one is for your, created some for you guys. This one is going to be for your past clients. Oh, that's going to be from the system to agent. I promise I'll explain what I'm doing here in just a minute. So let me save these emails and then I'll share this out with all of you. I've created two different templates for you guys. One that's specifically more so for maybe your past clients, your current clients, and one that's meant for leads. All right. Now to share this out with you, it's going to sound a little crazy, but I swear it all makes sense when we put together the pieces. To share this out with you, I can share an email template across multiple accounts in kvCORE by sharing it in a campaign. I can give you guys a campaign code. Let's see. I can share a campaign code here. Let me just share it real quick. Let me pull that up for you guys. It says I've already shared this. There we go. Here's my sharing token. Okay, just wanted to make sure we had to do sharing token here. And what you guys can do is this sharing token that I've created, you can add this into your own accounts in your smart campaigns. And that will effectively load these email templates I've created into your account. So if you want some demos to work with, keep in mind for a lot of the holidays of, we actually have in kvCORE some templates. So if you're looking, down the road for a Thanksgiving template, for a New Year's template, we tend to have a lot of these located in your account already. But for some of the more specific holidays, you might not see a template there. So I always think it's fun to create one for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and share this, this sharing token for these templates, both in my guide, and I'm going to share it out in the chat. And I'm going to explain how you guys can copy that into your accounts. And then you have your templates and you can make your own edits to those templates. Again, the way I've built this, I just want to mention they are just meant to be single use emails. It isn't meant to function as a active campaign. So two different email templates, they're not meant to be sent together. All right. So to use this campaign, here's what you would do, or to use the email templates, here's what you do. In your kvCORE account, you'd head on over to your marketing tab and you'd head to your smart campaigns. You can do so by clicking on the marketing tab and clicking on smart campaigns. Or if you click into the marketing tab, you'll also find smart campaigns here on the right. Once you're in your campaign section, it'll default to your campaigns. You won't have this campaign just yet. If you want to copy it into your account, on the right-hand side, you'll probably see some green buttons. There'll be an option to add a campaign. And to the right of that, this is where you can paste in a campaign token. So doesn't say it specifically, but this little, it looks like a little copy button. If you click on it here, that'll open up this option to paste in a token. So you paste in your token here and you click that button again. So this is the token that I both added into my guide and into the Zoom chat. So whichever works easiest for you, you just grab that token, copy and paste it in here and click the button to the right. and it's going to ask if you're sure. It's going to make a copy or a clone of the campaign messages and add them automatically to your account. Can take up to 15 minutes to complete. You'll usually receive an email once the campaign is in your account. Now I can click yes here. It's not going to work on my end because it's my campaign. So it's not going to allow me to create another copy of my same campaign. It's already in my account. I don't need to clone it. But this is what it would look like on your end. You'll hit yes, and it'll say that it's begun the process for this campaign. Actually, I'm surprised mine didn't give me an error message. All right, so it will load up into your campaign, can take a few minutes. Now, after you receive that email that the campaign is in your library, when you search amongst your campaigns, you'll find if you type in the little search bar here, or if you flip through the pages, if you don't already have a lot of campaigns in here, I've named it, should be SM Labor Day. I'll go and I'll search for that real quick. Try this one more time. Oh, Labor Day email template SM. And I do believe I included that in here as well. I'm going to go ahead and just add that as a note here so you guys know exactly what to look for. It's Labor Day email template, and the SM is for Success Meetup. Just a little reminder to you guys of where you grab this one. Keep in mind, these Labor Day email templates provided are not meant to be run as a campaign in itself. They're just individual emails. So don't feel like you don't have to turn this campaign on. Actually, after you load it into your account, you could even go and delete this campaign, and it would still save the email templates in your account. Okay, so you can always remove the campaign after you've loaded it in. But what it's going to give you access to are two different email templates. So if I were using our scheduled mass email tool here, I can search for those templates. Now, again, I usually put SM in the front of it to make it easy to find. So if you type in SM Labor Day, you'll have an email template for past clients and an email template for leads. And let me just double check my work here that I've added in those here. Yes, SM Labor Day email template. Let's see, past clients and leads. Just adding that to my guide here so it's easy for you guys to find. And all right. So anywhere where you go to grab an email, wherever it says templates, when you go to load in an email, you can type SM Labor Day and it should pop up those two templates from your campaign once you've loaded that into your account. Now, I just did these really quick and dirty. Feel free to change up the messaging, change up the photos if you'd like. In my guide, I provided some sources that you can look for other Labor Day related photos. Just make sure if you're using a photo that you find online, you're looking for something like free stock images. You don't want to steal someone else's image online if you don't have permission to use that. Now, in my messaging, I did a couple of things. I included, first of all, what's called a merge tag, or a couple merge tags in here. So at the top, it says hi and first name in these fancy brackets. This is called a merge tag in kvCORE. I can send this exact same message to, as we talked about, a large group of individuals, and each person who receives that email from me will receive an email that has their first name added into the message. It just pulls that information from your CRM. So I don't have to do anything fancy here. It's going to fill that in for me with the help of the merge tag. I've also included a merge tag at the bottom, which is your agent and your full name that pops in here as well. So that it will be based off of your account. It's going to pop in your name from your account there. And feel free, if you don't want to add these, if you want to do a signature instead, or if you don't want to include their name in the message, you can just edit these. You have full permission to change up these templates however you like. So feel free to edit this message if it doesn't suit your needs. Now, besides adding in photos and text, there's a lot of other content you can provide with the help of the advanced email editor. At the bottom, I've added in some buttons. I'll explain those in a second. If you're building things like a newsletter, you might want some dividers into, if you're dividing up different topics that you're talking about. So dividers might be helpful for you. You could easily add in social media links as well. So I can click on social, drag it down here. Let's put it up here. There we go. We got social media links here. And we could add in videos as well, HTML. So really up to you how fancy you decide to get with it. Now, if you're adding in things like the social media buttons, make sure you click on that area and you add in the actual links to your social media pages. Otherwise, it's just going to send them directly to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. And of course, if you are using the social media icons, if you don't use something like Twitter or LinkedIn, feel free to just delete that. Or we have other icons you could add in instead. So if you want them to follow you on some other social media option, you can add those in too. I've also added a couple of buttons here, which by themselves will not do very much for you. They do require a link to be added here. So what I promised them, or what I offered at the bottom of this email, because we always want to find some way to tie it back into real estate rights or drive these consumers back to our websites or in some way engage with them. So I've added buttons here at the bottom to get a free market report or get your home value. If they're not already signed up for home evaluations, if they're not receiving market reports, these are just good ways to, keep them engaged. To keep, even after you've, finished the deal with them, keep having them, receive regular messaging from you, keep you in their top of mind because you want to be the first person they think of, even if they're not ready to buy or sell another home. You want to make sure that they're thinking of you when they think of anyone who could be a potential referral, right? So with these buttons here, we want to pop in the links. Someone already asked in the chat, where do we get those links? So you get them from your website. So free market report that can be created just by having them sign up through your websites. Now, of course, you can put someone on a market report yourself, but in this scenario, we want to kind of offer it to them to do themselves. So let's go and grab our kvCORE website. If you haven't explored your own website, yes, and this is through kvCORE. If you haven't explored your own website, you'll click on your name in the upper right-hand corner, and your website's usually about the third or so icon down, your little globe icon. And I just want to put in a couple of links for those buttons for them to function properly. So the very first one is, I said, get a free market report. They can do that by going to your websites. Actually, if they go to your search tab on your website, there is an option at the top for free market reports. Or depending on the homepage of your website, you might have it listed somewhere there as well. But here on my search tab, this is usually the place that I point out to most of our users. Here, free market report. And they can sign up for this themselves, but not every user is going to know where to find that on your site. So by providing it in an email, it makes it really accessible for them. So all I did, because I did that a little quickly, I went to my search tab here. Let that load up one more time. And at the top, it said free market report. And that's where I clicked next. Here we go, free market report. It's right above my kind of map icon. If you don't see it here, it should be somewhere close by. You'll usually see a banner that says free market report. And then this URL, this link up at the top, is what I could be sharing in my email to my clients to direct them to this page of my website so they can sign up for a free market report. All they have to do is add in their area, their city, their county, neighborhood, or zip code, wherever they want a market report for. So here we go. Here's the button, get a free market report. And on the right, I just click on that button here in my email template. And on the right, we'll see content properties and link type. It's already set to open a web page. Usually that's the default. And I could just pop that link to my website here. And that's all I have to do. Feel free to, adjust the colors or the size of the text if you like to, but that's really all you need to do. You just need to pop in a link from your website. So that way, when they receive this email and they click this button, that's where they're redirected to. So that's the link for our free market report. And then to offer them a home value, that would be offering them a home valuation, which for most of our users out there, they can just grab that from the sell tab of your websites. I will mention for my Canadian users out there, if I have any Canadian users on the call, your sell page, your home valuation page might look a little different on your site. So just be aware it might function differently. But here we go. I just clicked on the sell tab of my kvCORE website. So this is what I mean by the sell tab, second tab over. And it'll take me to my subdomain /seller/valuation. And that's the URL I'm going to use for this button. So same idea. I just click on the button. On the right, here's my content properties. I can pop in that URL. That's all I need to do. So this is pretty much ready to use and send to whoever I like. Now, this one is a little bit more of a personal message. It's thanking them for using you as their real estate agent. So this is more appropriate for current clients and past clients, which is why I included that in my, my messaging there. So if I want to use that, again, choose who you're sending it to. Choose the date you want it to send out on and the date, or the date and the time. I'll just do one and we can schedule it. So that is the first template that I created, and then we'll jump into the leads one as well, because I switched up the buttons a little bit on that one. So here we go. Here's the date scheduled. After it's been set, you'll see a little check mark on the left-hand side of your schedule mass email tool. Has the name here, has number of contacts it estimates will be sent out to. Again, I just grabbed a random grouping, so don't be surprised. In your account, you'll probably find more if you filtered for the correct individuals. And I can always go back and edit it before it's been sent, or remove that if I decide it's no longer relevant. Let's look at the second template. Okay, so I just opened a new email. And again, I'm going to look for SM Labor Day. This time I'm going to look at the leads version. They're very similar. I've just changed up some of the messaging and I've changed up the buttons just to give you an example of what the buttons will do. So same idea here. I've included some merge tags for you guys. But in this case, we're reaching out to a new lead. We're still trying to get them to reach out to us to utilize us as a resource for finding their dream home. And I'm just trying to point out that, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, you can call me or text me. Now, this might not be how you want to portray your message. Feel free to change these. I'm really just using this to showcase the differences and the options that you have with these buttons and the things that you can embed into your email messaging. So if you don't like the way this is, laid out, if that's not how you would send this to your leads, feel free to change these. If I want to change what the button text says, I can just click into it and I can type directly into it. So if I wanted to say call here instead of call me, or if I wanted to say something else entirely, just type that in. So with our previous message, we added in links to our website. And you could do that for your new leads as well. Doesn't hurt to have them sign up for a search alert, a home valuation, a market report. But I like to point out that these buttons can do more than just open a web page. You could add a button to your email messaging where someone just clicks that button and it calls you. They click that button and they text you. And this can sometimes be really handy if you manage to capture a new lead's email address, but maybe you don't have permission yet they haven't given permission to text them just yet. We want to make sure that we're always kind of following those those rules in place to make sure that our emails, our text messages aren't detected as spam, that we're staying above board. And we want to make sure that, they're willing to accept these messages and so on and so forth. So sometimes it's helpful if you just have an email address for them to encourage them, hey, if you want to get a hold of me, feel free to send me a text. And by them reaching out with a text, they're agreeing, they're giving permission to text in response. So kind of a handy way to get that permission, that response from them as well. So having a call here or text here option can be handy, but it does require, again, we got to give the information there. So if I want this button to call me, and it's already set up to do that, you'll notice as I hover over the call me button, it says on the right-hand side under content properties, this time instead of open web page, it says make call. Well, then I would just add in my telephone number here, and that's going to connect that over. If I want them to text me, I click on send SMS. And again, I added my cell phone number here, or whatever number I want them to text. And I also choose a message. So that message is what's going to be received. So add in whatever message and your phone number there. So you don't have to use the buttons this way. Again, you could change that, and it could be, free market report, sign up for a search alert here, and you could direct them to links on your website. But just some other ways that you could use those buttons, and you could use it with a different approach for, say, your new leads to engage with them. All right. So we talked quite a bit about using the schedule mass email tool for your holiday messaging. Let's check back in on that guide and see what other tools we can kind of, talk about what I haven't touched on so far. And of course, if you have any questions about what we've talked about so far, if you've got questions about a different tool in your kvCORE platform, feel free to pop those in the chat or Q&A. I want to make sure that we also address your specific questions, because again, this is a session that's here for you and what you need to know about your platform. So don't be shy if you got additional questions. So we talked a bit about hashtagging, about grouping those that we want to receive our holiday messaging. We talked a little bit about the different ways to reach out with messaging. Again, we can email or text from the CRM. If I want to send them an email or text right now, I could use those templates to send the message today. Or I could use the schedule mass email tool if I want to choose a date in advance that I want to send it out to. While the smart campaign that I created just to share those email templates with you all isn't meant to function as a smart campaign, that doesn't mean you couldn't create a holiday smart campaign if you wanted. Now, that would definitely require probably more than we have time to get into today. But if you're not quite familiar with smart campaigns, we've got some great videos about how to build them on the YouTube channel. And you could create a very advanced campaign if you wanted to, that's based on sending emails or text messages or creating tasks to remind you to follow up based on specific dates. So you could build an entire holiday that has different emails and text messages that go out on every holiday of the year. You could build your own holiday campaign if you like to. That isn't, again, how the one I built is meant to function for you all. It's just email templates, but feel free to incorporate those if you want to into a full campaign. All right. Again, if you're looking for more stock images, or if you're looking for, free stock images that you can use, I have a couple links that I shared here. Pexels and Unsplash are great resources, or you could just do a Google search, free stock Labor Day images. Sometimes that'll pull up some goodies. And additionally, in a lot of the places where you send email messages through kvCORE, got too many tabs open. Let me just really quickly show you what I'm talking about here. In a lot of places where I'm sending a message through kvCORE, if I'm using our advanced email editor and I'm popping in an image, just one more quick tip I'll show you guys. So here we go. If I want to add in an image to my email, just drag it in. I can actually browse for free photos here. We do have some free photos available to you. some by Pexels and Pixabay. So I could search images here as well. If I wanted to pop in, say, a flag image, I think there's a lot available here, and I just import them in. So kvCORE does also have some free stock images that you can pop into your email messages. Now, besides reaching out by email or text, we've got a lot of past success meetups where we talk about creating things like landing pages, squeeze pages, text codes to promote the holiday, to attract more leads. So additionally, you could, if you got a deal, a promotion. Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry, someone just mentioned in the chat where can we find this guide? If you missed it, let me pop it in the chat again. So there we go. Yeah, if you have a deal or some sort of promotion or some other, piece of value that you're offering for the holiday, put that in a landing page, put it in, your call to action on a squeeze page and direct the user back to information on your website, or put it in a text code. Hey, text this code Labor Day to find out Labor Day events in your area. And then when they text that code, you could just have them link back to maybe a custom event page that you put on your website. So updating your website for holidays might also be a handy idea. I'll show you just, with the time we have remaining, a quick kind of custom page that you could create for a holiday on your website. Unless we have any other questions about the kvCORE platform. Don't be shy, folks. Feel free to interrupt me. I haven't had a lot of questions unrelated to today's topic, but of course, if you have them, don't be shy. But I just wanted to mention here, Web and IDX, something that I like to do quite often for holidays is I'll head to my website content and I'll create something like a custom page for the holiday. And this could be really something simple that you do from a quick Google search. So for example, we're located in the training, a lot of our training team is located in California in the San Diego area. And so I'll often put on the website, best Valentine's Day date spots in San Diego, New Year's events in San Diego. San Diego Fair was something that was at the start of the summer that's very popular around here. So you could create kind of event pages for your site, again, to entice users there. So besides just linking them to sign up for free market reports or free home valuations or asking them to text or call you, maybe you offer them, hey, do you want to know more about events in your area? Well, click this button and you can redirect them to a link on your website. So you'd have to build the page first, of course, before you link them to your website. It's not automatically provided, but it's pretty easy to create. If I was clicking on new page here, I'd give it a title. Now this is going to be what displays on your site. So I'm going to just we're going to do Labor Day events in San Diego. Keep it pretty straightforward. Feel free to come up with a catchier title. Just using this for demonstration purposes. And you'll want to also put it in a category. Now, if you've never created a custom page for your website before, give it, a new category. So you can display on your website pages or a whole category of pages. So investor info, this is an individual page. Hot listings, which I apologize, I've made the color the same as my background image, so it might be a little hard for you guys to see. But hot listings here, this is a custom category, and I can have multiple pages under that category. So coming soon in San Diego is a page that falls into that category. So by giving it a title and a category, you can choose if you want to display a category of different custom pages or just one custom page. So I'll give it a category as well. I think I have San Diego activities as a category in here. And I can type out my content, hey, if you're looking for, and type in exactly what I want, and I could send them to other resources online, or if I found something online, for example, I did a quick Google search Labor Day activities in San Diego. There's lots of websites that you'd find with information on that. I could kind of recycle that, repurpose that for my own page. And I could also, provide links to outside resources if I wanted to. So I could add that into the content, or if I don't even want to type anything, if I just want to link them somewhere else to some other piece of value. I get agents all the time that make the switch to kvCORE, and maybe you had a past existing website and you're like, well, I want to keep both my old website and my new kvCORE website. How do I kind of link one to another? Because I've got lots of resources on my old website. This is something you could do. You could pop in that link from your old website into a custom page on your kvCORE website and send them over there. So you could still utilize that previous value that you had. So you pop in a URL if you wanted to redirect them instead of doing content. So this is an either or situation. If I pop in a URL, it's just going to redirect them to that new page. If I don't use the URL and I use content, then they're going to see whatever content I've typed in here. And then, I can add in some description and some keywords, which are going to help my page be more easily found when someone does a search. So a meta tag description, meta tag keywords. So for example, events in San Diego this weekend. If I'm doing a Google search, when it pulls up results, the sentences are the meta tag description. So from food to beer, there are plenty of delicious festivals to enjoy in San Diego this weekend. That is a meta tag description. But the keywords that it pulls up, like San Diego and this weekend, those are the keywords that it's pulling up based on this Google search I did. So when you're filling out a custom page, I definitely encourage you to, while these are optional, add in a description, just 2 pages that make your page more easily found when someone's doing a search, and add in a couple of keywords like, San Diego, like events, Labor Day, something like that. And then you can go and you can save that. And one more thing, I do see questions popping up in the chat. I do want to mention that just creating the page is not quite enough. If you create a page, after you've created them, they will typically show up. Most of you by default will have a resources tab up here at the top. Any custom page you create will show up under your resources. I don't have resources showing anymore, so it's not automatically showing on my page. But to make sure that that's something that they see, top of your website, you'll also, after you create your custom page, want to go to your website settings. So just to finish this up real quick, website settings, and then custom navigation. And if I'm going a little bit fast here, I'll make sure if there isn't already a support article on this topic and my guide, I'll make sure to pop one in there for you all. There are support articles on this. And then additionally, I think we've got some other YouTube videos that talk about this in greater depth. For example, my 4th of July holiday success meetup, we did talk about adding custom pages to your website. So if you want a little slower walkthrough of this, you can always catch that video. But for custom navigation, I just scroll down until I see options for select custom pages or select custom categories. Additionally, to make it easy to find things in your website settings, Control F, I could type in something like custom page, and it makes it easier to find in there. So just a little pro tip there. But right now, let's see, I can choose kind of 4 different categories or custom pages to show at the top of my website. Any more than that, it tends to look a little crowded. So maybe instead of investor info, I want to show that new Labor Day's event in San Diego page. And I can just go and I can save that. So remove one, add another. We'll refresh my website. And there we go, Labor Day events in San Diego. And now I can use that link to direct other users to more valuable insights on my website. So another reason for them to go explore my website. All right, let's see the questions that I've missed. Thank you guys for your patience. Someone said, I don't want to be asking the same question, but if you can add the button for a free home valuation, can it be added to an email signature connected through kvCORE? And if so, how? Yeah, absolutely. So in kvCORE, if you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner, you should be able to head to your profile. Through your profile, this is usually where you can go to edit things like your email signature. Now, I do want to mention, depending on your brokerage, some brokerages out there might have very specific rules about how they want their email signatures to look. I know some brokerages out there, have a brand standard. But what I've done in my email signature, I always think it's helpful to embed somewhere in your signature a link to your website. So it's not exactly a button, but I've embedded a link. So for example, if this is a little hard to see, I'll make it a tiny bit bigger here. I've added in the words, click here to search for homes and click here to find out what your home is worth. So I typed out the phrasing that I wanted. But then you'll notice this click here is a clickable link. So what I did to do that in my email signature is I highlighted the text. Actually, got to edit my profile first. Very important step. Don't want to overlook that. You edit your profile. And then when I go back to my email signature, here we go. We get the options to edit. So I typed in click here to find out what your home is worth. If I want to embed a link here, I just highlight the text that I want to embed that link into. So where it says click here. And then there's a little chain icon up at the top, just to the right of the image icon. This is where I could pop in that link to my website. So you could put it in an email, or you could put it in your email signature so it's in every single email you ever send out. So totally up to you. Great question in the chat. I hope that helped. And then, of course, if you make any changes, don't forget to save your changes. So that way you don't move somewhere else and lose that work that you added in there. All right. And then someone said, do you have a preference of sending them directly to a link or customizing one? The only thing about sending them directly to a link is be very careful about whether or not have permissions to, say, share out that information. Now, I just did this as a really quick example. Really, I should take the time to, reword this information in my own words, or, I want to make sure that I'm the one providing this information, that it's not just something I stole from, somewhere online. Always make sure to kind of help phrase things into your own words. So I did this really quickly here. It's definitely a good idea to, put your own verbiage there, maybe add in your own images, or if you're using links, not just directly sending them to someone else's page, someone else's hard work. But if you wanted to embed links, maybe have links to a couple different resources that you've found online. So it's not just taking credit for what someone else did, but more so just showing that there's different resources that you're providing. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, folks, we're right at the end of time here. So unfortunately, I do have to wrap it on up. I want to thank you guys again for joining me. If you didn't grab the guide, I'm going to pop it in the chat one last time. Feel free to grab that. And of course, at the bottom of the guide, give me a couple hours from now for this to render through Zoom. I'll come back and I'll update it with today's recording link. And then usually within a few business days, you'll also find the recording on our YouTube channel. So you can always catch the recording either through my guide or through the YouTube channel. All right, folks, thanks again for joining, and I'll see you next time on our kvCORE Success Meetups. Take care.